Welcome back to Going Walkabout. Many of us have dreams of turquoise blue waters, white sand beaches lapping against tropical shores, where the ocean becomes the third partner in a romantic triangle. If you are a product of the 80s like me, you'll remember the most romantic movie of the decade, Against All Odds. And while the actors were good, the real star of the movie was the backdrop of Cozumel. Of course, after all that, I was sold. And since we were across the channel from this romantic paradise, I convinced Mr. Steele we must go for a day trip. For us, the day began with a 1.5 mile walk down 5th Avenue in Playa Del Carmen to the docks of the ferries at the other end of town. We had gotten our tickets and could leave any time after 9 o'clock. There are 3 main ferry companies that leave every 30 minutes from the main pier. You can use Ultramar, Zeeling Iscaret, or Windjet. The cost for the visitors is about 300 pesos one way, which is about $15 US. I advise to only get a one-way ticket, as you'll have better flexibility on your return trip. The ferry station is pretty modern. If you have your ticket, you'll need to go up the stairs to the top deck. The ferries check you in upstairs, and then you go down the ramp to get on the ship. They have storage for larger luggage as well as bikes. We saw a whole group who brought their bikes so that they could tour the island, which is a great idea as there's a bike lane around the whole island. You can also get first-class tickets, in which place you'll sit further towards the front of the boat. We opted for regular seating, which allowed us to sit on the upper deck, which would be my preference every time anyways. Views leaving Playa del Carmen were gorgeous, and in no time at all, we were getting ready to dock in Cozumel. It was a bit alarming, as there were 7 cruise ships that we counted coming in. How could a small romantic island hold all these people? During the course of the day, we would find out. Pulling into the dock, the town came into view, along with our meeting place, the Statue of the Swallows, the Mayan word for swallows. You guessed it, Cozumel. We opted to get a tour of the island privately so we didn't have to rent a car. If you have limited time and you don't want to mess with car rentals, I would recommend this option. The island is shaped like a giant sweet potato. Whether you take a cruise ship or a ferry, you'll come into San Miguel de Cozumel. We chose to do a tour of the island, with the first stop being Punta Morena on the Caribbean side. Driving out of town, we hit one of the main roads that is adjacent to the airport. It's a beautiful tree-lined highway. Our first stop on the Caribbean side is Mescalitos, one of the few places that has been on the beach since the 1980s. The Caribbean side of the island gets pummeled by hurricanes. The high winds and seas erode the beaches. While scenic to view, they aren't the best beaches on the island. One of the best things about the highway that circles the island is it's got a dedicated bike lane, which was actually the old road that used to circle the island. I would look into doing a bike tour of the island next time I visit, as it allows you to look at the glorious scenery and enjoy the cool Caribbean breezes that can keep the heat at bay. There are several small beach clubs on this strip of land. They are more rustic, however, take full advantage of the intoxicating turquoise seas. You can tell the locals are working to take advantage of these areas with impromptu signs that can act as photo op stops. Sargasso seaweed is a menace In this case, I thought it looked quite beautiful. This side of the island seems untouched, and a paradise for those that love the rugged beauty. Carrying on from here, we stopped at Celarain lighthouse, which is a lighthouse that was built in 1934. Its Mayan predecessor, only a couple of miles away, was built in 1200 AD. More on the Mayan lighthouse in a bit. The current lighthouse is the centerpiece of an eco-park, including a rugged coastline and wetlands. You can view the historical artifacts in the base of the current lighthouse. Touring the base, you'll see some of their historical artifacts, as well as some things that they've been able to beachcomb off the beach. If you walk to the top of the lighthouse, you can view the surrounding area, including the wetlands. Best to take your time descending the spiral staircase. While a bit steep, the effort was well worth the trip. Leaving the park, we can see the original Mayan lighthouse. While much is underground, the top still remains visible. The Mayans would place conch shells in the top tier of the lighthouse. When a strong wind would blow, it would create a noise that would alert the Mayans to incoming weather. From here, we would travel to the area of the island that has the most sand, ergo has the beach clubs. Beach clubs like Senor Sanchez have taken over this area. The clubs usually charge a price for the day, about $60 US, is pretty consistent. And for this, you get a beach chair and all the food and drink that you could want. Our driver took us to a place that was less hectic, called Sky Reef. It was perfect for us. It wasn't an all-inclusive resort. They had equipment rentals for snorkeling and so forth, so you didn't have to bring anything. The water was delightful, not too warm, but no shock to plunge into, which I love. I was intoxicated by the fan coral. I had always dreamed of seeing it. I could have watched it sway in the currents all day long. We headed back to the town and the ferry docks. A quick stroll around the main square and some of the shops was a perfect way to end our stay in Cozumel. And that's a wrap. If you've enjoyed the video, a like or a thumbs up is greatly appreciated. Better yet, subscribe. We do a new video every week. See you next week. Cheers for now.